Hey Dance Bugs, and welcome back to FAQ. This is your place for getting to know dance and us a whole lot better. This week we're continuing to talk about setting goals and planning for them. We're going to take you through the 7 steps to getting ready for your very first dance competition or showcase. Stick around. Okay, so we've decided to take the plunge and participate in our very first competition or showcase. So super exciting. It's a great way to push yourself to progress further with a goal. And the reason why goals or milestones are really great is because there's an end date. So it just gives you that little extra push sometimes. We need to progress in our skill or our ability in doing certain things like dance. So the first thing you want to think about is to pick an event. There's lots of local competitions. Maybe there's some competitions out of town that you want to try out. Showcases. Maybe your studio has a couple of showcases a year that you can participate in. So first thing you want to do is choose an event and think about the date. The date is definitely a huge factor. You want to give yourself a minimum of 3 months before the event to prepare for it. So that should give you approximately 12 weeks. Now, I am suggesting that that is a minimum. So many times you'll hear an instructor suggest 4 months of prep, which would give you approximately 16 weeks. And usually you want to think of things in terms of weeks because more often than not, you're taking lessons on a weekly basis. We feel that 12 to 16 weeks is a realistic time frame in order for a first-time student to get ready for a competition or a showcase. So the best thing to do is always to communicate with your instructor and get their feedback on where they think you are in terms of time needed to prepare for this event. Next, you want to determine the style you will be dancing in. You want to sit down with your partner and or dance instructor and discuss whether or not you're going to be participating in the American style of dancing or the international style of dancing. And in the description box below, we're going to include a link to our competition prep checklist. And it will break down the differences in the style and all the different dances within those styles that you can participate in. You want to set yourself up for success the first few times you compete especially. So by focusing on one style the first few times you go out, it will give you the chance to spend more time and focus on honing your skill at one genre and get really, really good at it. Being good at anything requires time, so don't overwhelm yourself with too much at the beginning. Now you want to have a discussion with your instructor on where you are at. What is your level status? Are you a newcomer? So have you been dancing for a year or less? That's what we would consider a newcomer. Are you a little bit more experienced? So maybe you're going to be dancing at the bronze level. Maybe you're more advanced to dance at the silver or the gold level. So you want to definitely get your instructor's feedback to find out exactly where you would fit in the dance category. And then you want to decide and commit to what level you will be dancing at. Also, you want to decide your age category. Now, different events will have different rules and regulations on what ages fall within which categories. So always make sure to check the policies and procedures and regulations of the particular event that you want to participate in so that there are no discrepancies later and that you have very clear set expectations from the event as well as from yourself and your instructor. Now you want to set your expectations. Your instructor will be well equipped to guide you through what to expect at the event. First of all, probably take you through some logistical things like what time to be there, how long each heat is, when you should be dressed and ready and have your hair, makeup, and costume on, all of those kind of things. And then there is what to expect on the performance side of the event. So for example, If you're a beginner, you want to be realistic about the amount of skill and ability you've acquired so far. Understand the time commitment it takes to prepare and be ready for an event of that type. If you've been watching shows like Dancing with the Stars or So You Think You Can Dance, keep in mind that these contestants have spent anywhere up to 60 or 70 hours per week to be ready for the next week's show. So what they're doing is they're compacting all of this prep time into only 7 days. And realistically, they're probably compacting it into only 5 days because day 6 is usually a dress rehearsal day and day 7 is film day. So you're being given 12 weeks. So when you compute the time and the number of hours that you're devoting and going to work and maybe raising a family and having a social life, you kind of have to do the math on where you would realistically be between now and the time of the competition. So you really want to sit down and ask yourself some why questions. Why are you doing this event? Why are you doing a competition? Why have you decided to do a showcase? Do you simply want to try something different, add a little spice to your learning? Do you like to push yourself and progress yourself at an accelerated rate? Are you the type of person that likes to have end goals and end dates, and it gives you a real sense of accomplishment? Are you doing this because you want to see where you stand in relation to others at this level? Do you enjoy the idea of dressing up and performing? Do you want to do something that scares you? Or all of the above? And there may be more why questions that I didn't mention here. Whatever your reason, own it. And let that help motivate you to progress forward in your dancing. And now the most important essential is the practicing, the rehearsing, the planning of your time to work on getting ready dance-wise for this event. So you need to work out your schedule ASAP. How many weeks do you have between now and the event? And how often can you and will you realistically practice on your dancing? This includes taking lessons as well as practicing. Now, I recommend a minimum of 3 hours per week leading up to the event. This would include at least 1 hour of a dance lesson and 2 separate practice sessions of at least an hour each. So if you calculate 3 hours multiplied by 12 weeks, that's going to give you a total of 36 hours of work and preparation towards your first competition. This will give you a solid footing to participating with confidence and ease. Now, a lot of instructors will probably recommend a little bit more. I would say the optimal amount would be 5 hours a week. So that would be at least 2 lessons a week and 3 separate practice times. Now again, you'll have to work that out with your instructor and or with your partner as well. And of course you want to be realistic because you've also got a regular life to lead. But anywhere between the 3 and the 5 hours per week mark is a good solid amount of time to prepare for a competition. And remember, you've made the decision to participate in a competition or a showcase to perform. So you're going to want to make sure that you are willing to devote a good chunk of time to preparing for it so that you can do well, right? We want to make sure that you feel great at your first competitive experience. Now, the funnest essential of getting ready for your first competition is planning out your costumes and accessories. Find out if you will need a proper costume or if you can get away with something a little bit more subtle. If you're doing a showcase, many times proper costumes are not required, but just a little bit more subtle attire, maybe a little bit more glitzed up formal attire is required. Make sure to check the regulations of the event you're participating in to find out what the attire requirements are. If a costume is required, find out how many different styles you're going to need, because there are different types of attire for ballroom than there are for Latin. So if you are participating in both, then you want to make sure that as a lady you have a ball gown for your ballroom dances and a Latin dress for your Latin heats. Same for a gentleman. If you are dancing in the ballroom as well as the Latin categories, you want to make sure that you have appropriate shirts and or jackets for the ballroom section, as well as the right type of shirts and pants for your Latin categories. If you are going to need a costume, make sure you have enough time to suss out a seamstress or a tailor, and allot enough time for fittings and possible hiccups along the way. So getting a seamstress or tailor in line early is key. Will you need new shoes? And if this is the case, make sure that you are dancing in those shoes prior to the event. The last thing you want to deal with is breaking in new shoes. And there are different types of shoes for different dances as well. So ballroom shoes for ladies tend to be closed in the toe and a dressy looking shoe. A Latin shoe will be open-toed, sometimes strappy. Either way, you want to make sure that your shoes are secure to your feet and that they are comfortable and have had enough time to stretch and give for your movements. For gentlemen, there are different types of shoes between your ballroom and your Latin categories. A Latin shoe will have a little bit of a higher heel. So make sure that you have the right type of equipment you need for each type of dance category that you are doing. And lastly, the biggest essential of all is cost. And that includes the opportunity cost of participating in a competition. So things like, will you need to take time off work to participate? Some events are a week long and they're full days from early morning late into the evening. So you want to make sure that you'll be able to make arrangements before you commit to attending the event. If this event is out of town, you will need to take into consideration the logistics behind transportation and accommodation and the cost of these things. Another cost that people forget to take into consideration is paying your instructor. If you're competing with your instructor or if they're required to go with you, their time has value. They are a professional in their field. Remember that when they attend a competition, they are taking time out of their working schedule to attend the event. So that's an opportunity cost to them. So you want to make sure that any salary of your instructor is covered. Many instructors will charge by the entry. So when you pay an entry fee to the competition, the instructor may waive a salary fee, but then they will charge you a fee per dance. As well as many times you will be responsible for covering some or all of the cost of their accommodation and transportation as well. Because remember, they are providing a professional service to you by attending the event. You want to understand and be well informed of all costs involved in this event and be realistic as to whether or not you can afford to participate, because that will definitely put a damper on your experience. You want to make sure that you enjoy it and not stress about the money factor. So you want to ask yourself if you find true value in participating in said experiences. I've had students over the years who were blown away at the cost factor of what it takes to participate in a competition, of course, because they simply had no idea. It's like finding out what it costs to enter your child in some of those beauty pageants. People are blown away at the amount of money that gets spent on entrance fees, fees per heat, entrances into the ballroom. Then many people get their hair and makeup professionally done. Their dresses or tuxedos can run you quite a pretty penny. And again, if you are staying overnight, if you're flying to some of these places, so the price tag can get quite steep. But ultimately, you have to find the value in participating in this event. If you are having a great time, if you feel that this is helping you progress forward, you love the ambiance, you like the idea of meeting new people and checking out what other people are doing in their dancing, then this is definitely for you. If the cost factor really takes you aback, then you might want to put the brakes on the competition idea just for a little while. Sometimes it just takes people a minute to kind of massage that into their thought process and really kind of come to grips to what's involved. Some people swear by the competitive experience. They find it fun, it's exciting, it's social, and they love the performance aspect, of course. So just keep that in mind when you're making the decision for you, because remember, it is all about you and whether or not you will find value in participating in such events. And there you have it, the 7 essentials to preparing for your first dance competition. Remember that we've also included a downloadable link below to your own checklist that you can download for free on how to prepare for your first event. Hopefully you found this helpful, and please feel free to share this with any of your friends that may be considering doing a showcase or competition. And if we've missed anything, definitely let us know. Leave us a comment in the comment box below, and make sure to click subscribe and just tap on that notification bell so you'll always be up to date on all of our FAQ uploads, which is every Monday. In the meantime, we wish you all the best of luck in preparing for your next event, and stay tuned for our next video when we get a little bit deeper into discussing how to manage your expectations. In the meantime, happy dancing everyone, and we look forward to seeing you on the dance floor.